What's up, football fans? It's time for week number 4 of the NFL picks and predictions. Without further ado, let's go and recap week number 3, right before, of course, as we always do, going from week number 4. Of course, this one is late, so we'll talk about that when we get to week 4. But anyways, so we did pretty well. We did about average. We got ourselves a solid 10 points, bringing us up back to our average once again. 10 points, average 10 wins, average a week. We might be in the running for doing some type of damage into the top and getting ourselves some winnings this year for this season. But let's just go over the list. We have San Francisco beating the Giants. That was pretty obvious on Thursday night. Then we had Cleveland over Tennessee, and Cleveland absolutely trashed them. I thought this would be a closer game, even though I picked Cleveland and got it right. But still, I thought it would be a closer game, and clearly it was not. Then Detroit beat Atlanta. Now, Atlanta did not look so hot for some reason. Atlanta didn't look so hot. I expected a better showing from them too. Very strange, very strange. Now, the Green Bay-New Orleans game. New Orleans was winning that game. They just, in the end, they still didn't look that hot and shot themselves in the foot, where Green Bay managed to barely squeak out an 18-17 victory over the New Orleans Saints. Thankfully, I picked Green Bay, but I was expecting that one to be a loss. Now, Miami beating Denver was obvious, and as we all know, nearly beat the record. I'm surprised Miami wasn't thirsty for it, but Miami beat Denver 70-20. Just, my God, what a devastating one there. Now, the Chargers managed to beat Minnesota, but once again, neither team, that was right down to the wire, and Minnesota kept. Once again, did the Chargers win or did Minnesota lose? You got to look at it both ways, and I really feel like Minnesota had multiple chances, multiple opportunities to win that game, and they failed to deliver. They just failed to deliver. The Chargers couldn't have caught up had they just tried a little bit harder on multiple different drives. So, yeah, Minnesota taking a heavy loss there, and I'm out a point. Then the Jets. Zach Wilson and the Jets. I have no idea why I picked the Jets. Maybe I was just looking at what they might be able to do or something like that, and the Patriots aren't looking so hot. And, I mean, had Cobb caught that final 1 second left in the fourth quarter, had that been caught, that would have been one of the craziest upset victories I've ever seen. But unfortunately, it did not happen with 1 second left to go. It just slips right out of Cobb's reach, and the Jets lose 15-10. I don't think I'm going to be picking Zach Wilson very much. I finally watched a full Jets game. I mean, Cowboys, of course, but I watched a full Jets game. And Zach Wilson, I don't know if he thinks he's a quarterback or a ballerina, but he likes to spin and fall down without being touched a lot. I've noticed that. And he likes to run backwards. He really likes to run backwards a lot and then just fall down. So get new shoes, man. You need new shoes or something, but I won't be picking the Jets for a while. Usually my good rule of thumb is I never pick the Jets, and it's looking like I made a mistake here in week 3. Now, Buffalo over Washington was pretty obvious, and they trounced them. This is where the games start to go to shit. Houston somehow shows up and destroys, and I mean destroys, Jacksonville. When did that happen? When did that happen? I'm like, holy shit. So that was really cool. That was, I mean, I'm glad for Houston, but Jacksonville, what happened? I have no idea. I didn't watch the game. All I kept seeing was the score, and I went, what is happening right now? Like, did the entire Jackson defensive line go on the injured list? What happened? So, good on Houston, I guess. Baltimore lost to Indy, and that was, yeah, Baltimore. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're supposed to be better than this. I don't know how you lost to Indy, but you did. And then I start to pick it back up. Seattle beat Carolina. That was pretty obvious, though a high-scoring game by 2 possessions. And then Kansas City, of course, trounces Chicago by a lot more than 2 possessions. Then we get to the game. You know what? We'll go through the other games first. Pittsburgh beat Vegas. I picked them. Philly, of course, beat Tampa Bay, though quite a few people picked Tampa Bay, understandably, but they still won that one. And Cincinnati wins by only 3 points up against the Rams. Now, of course, my 3-point, I should have listened to my 3-point gut. I thought the Rams would have this. Cincinnati has not been looking hot. And so, yeah, we end off that. Now, I don't really want to talk about what happened in Arizona. The 28-16 victory over the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. All I'm gonna say is, now I know why they didn't pay enough money to draft people, for a better team, because they were pooling all that money together to make sure to pay off the refs. At least against one Titan NFC team, right? So next week they're not going to be able to, or this week they're not going to be able to do that. See, they used up all their coffers to make sure that they got a lot of Cowboys haters in there, because that was, yes, the Cowboys had a problem showing up a little bit to that game, but yeah, there was a lot of non-calls, pass interference on Gallup, standard textbook, and yeah, and a lot of very weak-ass penalties, especially in the first half. And of course, when you're talking conspiracy theory, when you're talking scripted games or fixed games, usually it all happens in the first half so that they can't call favorites, so they can't look deeper into this. Then they sort of ease up on you, So they call like 9 penalties in the first half, and then they only call 3 or 4 in the second half to make it look like, oh no, like, listen, the Cowboys have had an opportunity here for 20 minutes of play, and they haven't been able to make it happen, and they're down by 2 scores. Like, yeah. You make it look good by the end of the game, and you don't call a whole lot. But, yeah, either way, I'm not a big fan of believing that games are fixed and stuff like that. And call me biased, once again, it's my team and stuff like that. So you can say, yeah, of course you're crying wolf, sure. But, I don't know, guys. Sometimes I watch some games and I'm like, really? You're telling me that this wasn't reffed, biased as hell at the very least, if not scripted to a degree? Like, come on, man. So anyways, yeah, that felt way too goddamn on the nose for me. I obviously didn't like it, but once again, if you don't pay for, a good O-line, you can always just pay off the refs. So good on you, Arizona, for, at least you spent the money somewhere to try to win something. But yeah, now let's jump into week number 4, now that we've covered that. So week number 4, we've already had the Thursday game. Once again, I wasn't very busy doing different podcasts and stuff like that this week. Didn't have an opportunity to get out here and say, hey, let's get this out before Thursday. So I did pick Detroit. Detroit won 34-20. I did hum and haw on this one. I thought Lambeau Field, Green Bay, and stuff like that. But since they squeaked out a win last week, just barely, against a very bad New Orleans Saints, in my opinion, I thought the Detroit Lions were definitely going to give Green Bay more of a run. They did better against Atlanta than Green Bay did. All these factors, and I picked Detroit, and they won. So we're up 1 point. But now we get into Sunday games. We have a London game as well. So Jacksonville over Atlanta, no way. Falcons are beating those Jaguars, because I'm sorry, Houston won't be putting 40 points up against Atlanta. And so I firmly believe that Atlanta, if Houston can do it, why can't Atlanta put up 37 or whatever it was, 34, 37 points that Houston put up against Jacksonville? Jacksonville, I don't know what happened. I thought you were supposed to be better than this, but okay. Then we get to some very tough picks. Buffalo, Miami. I went with Miami, even though Buffalo is at home. But I feel like Miami is probably the strongest team in their division right now. I really do. The Jets suck. Patriots are eh. And, it's between Buffalo and Miami. So we got the big matchup here. We're going to see which team really shows up and is thirsty for this. And so many people are going to pick Miami because they put 70 points against a very bad Denver Broncos. I'm not doing that. I'm doing that because I think Miami's the strongest team in that division so far. Buffalo is what I would have said preseason. But looking at it, Miami is looking hotter than Buffalo right now. They just are. So I'm going with them. Now we have another hard pick, Denver or Chicago. I'm going Chicago because of home. That's it. It's, Denver disappoints me whenever I pick them. I find Denver and Charger games some of the hardest to pick. And this is another hard one, but I think the Bears do have to win sometime. I'm going with the Bears simply because they're at home. Then Cleveland, Baltimore. Had Baltimore won their game last week, probably would have went with Baltimore, but it's Cleveland. Got a soft spot for them. They're still looking like a good team, and they're at home. We're going with Cleveland. Then we have Cincinnati at Tennessee. I'm going with the Bengals. I think they've learned from some of their mistakes. And Tennessee, I'm still thinking about picking Tennessee in the future. You know, I think they're still due for a few more upset victories over some stronger teams. But it wasn't last week, and it's not this week. I'm going with the Bengals. Then we have Indianapolis up against the Rams. I'm going with the Rams. The Rams could keep Cincinnati to a field goal game victory. Indianapolis, realistically, they're sort of wishy-washy. They got to prove to me that they can get some consistency down before I really want to pick them. And yeah, I don't know. I just don't trust picking the Colts. They just don't feel right to me. So we're going with the Rams on that one. Though that is definitely an upset pick. You know, they're going into Indianapolis and stuff like that. So, and obviously I'm not picking the damn Saints. They suck. We're going with Tampa Bay. We're going with the Buccaneers here, obviously. Then Philly over Washington is an obvious pick. Minnesota over Carolina. Both teams are not looking good, but I think Minnesota, come on. If Minnesota can't beat Carolina, when even the Saints managed to do it, then I'm going to have to stop picking the Vikings. I really just am. But like I'm done picking the Jets. But Vikings, come on. You got to show me you can actually do this. So I'm hoping for a big blowout of a game to restill my confidence in Minnesota. This was a really tough pick for me too. Houston just came off of a big win up against Jacksonville, but I still think I'm going with the Steelers. Honestly, I had two choices. It was either going to be I was going to pick Chicago and Pittsburgh, or Denver and Houston. I flipped a coin and I'm going Chicago-Pittsburgh. Just what it is. I wanted to go for one upset victory between the two, but I didn't want to go for too many because I've got a few on here. I got a few. Then Chargers over Vegas. That's a pretty easy pick, but once again, meh. Dallas over New England. Yeah. I don't believe that one fixed-ass game is going to all of a sudden destroy the Dallas Cowboys. We are still a far better team than New England on paper. We're a far better team on the field. And as long as the refs aren't a bunch of Bill Belichick fans, I think that Dallas should win this game by an easy 2 possessions. So I'm still sticking with, how about them Cowboys? Can't win them all, obviously. So, yeah, either way, I'm still sticking with Dallas. Then we have San Francisco, obviously beating Arizona. As I've already stated once again, Arizona used up their coffers to fix one game against the Titan, not 2. So, yeah, we're going with San Francisco, definitely over Arizona by at least 2 scores, if not more. Kansas City beating the Jets, that's just painfully obvious. That's not even worth watching. And Giants, Seattle, I'm still going with those Seahawks. I seem to be picking the Seahawks pretty good this year so far, and I got faith in the Seahawks. Not so much faith in the Giants, so there we go. Anyways, guys, that is my set of picks for week number 4. Going into it with already 1 point picking the Lions, and quite a few people picked the Packers, though it only raised me 1 position overall in the pool and stuff like that, so is what it is there. But what did you guys think of last week? And what are you thinking of my picks for this week? And what are your picks? What are your picks and predictions? Let me know down in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you back here next time for week number 5. Count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of NFL. Looking forward to it. Know you guys are too. How about them Cowboys? Let's go show them that one shitty loss ain't gonna stop us. So that's it for me, guys. See ya.